Okay, we here, finally. And guess what? This is our first actual live episode ever. I figured out how to go live. Check it. We making big moves now. All right? So, we're here. Welcome to Raes Tape. Yes, I am back. Oh, I can actually see the comments on there too, man. Yo, we gonna show them have a good show today because we can read these folks' comments and everything. All right, so check it. Since I was going live today, I felt like I'd be like a real reporter, a real, well, what do you call it, journalist, real person, put on a good shirt, my button up. I'm gonna have to get like Stephen A. Manteo, that's not a TV shirt. That's a T-shirt. When you come on the TV, you gotta be dressed like this. Like, okay, well, I can't argue with you with the hat then. I can't argue with you with the hat. All right, so check it, y'all. Y'all already know my co-host, Mr. Manteo. We got, actually, in a minute now, we got the Barber twins hopping on because we want to get some of their insight on this whole track and field stuff. And then I had to reach out to a great friend of mine, Mr. John Drummond, to help come on and clear it up even more because he spent so much time on USA track and field and dealing with these people and stuff like that. He's one of the best people to come sum it up for us, tell us what's really going on. Manteo, I'm going to start with you though, bro. What the hell going on? What is going on? What is going on?
It's a lot going on, man.
So, This is my question. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. This is my question. I'm going to start it out like this right here. So, our superstar, she failed the drug test and is now, of course, the whole world knows, is no longer able to participate in Tokyo, but she's able to participate in Tokyo, just not in the 100. I've heard how this is possible. Tell me from your side what you know, because you're so close to USA Track and Field, how this is possible. Make that make sense to me.
It really depends on
John Drummond.
it really depends. Oh, what's up, JD?
We finally got John Drummond on the line.
What y'all talking about?
What do you think we talking about? What do you think we talking about? Manteo was just about to get explaining how it's possible for her to run the relay, but not the 100. So both of y'all, make it make sense to me.
I'll let JD go ahead. He just hopped on. Can y'all hear my music?
Yeah, we can hear your music. We sure can.
Y'all hear my music?
Yeah, we can hear your music.
Okay, I just want to see if y'all was feeling my vibe.
It's 4th of July vibe, I guess.
Listen, I ain't got much time, so I'm gonna jump in here real quick. What we talking about?
How is she able to run JD, so you clear it up for us without us even asking you. From your knowledge of what you understand of everything going on, make it make sense to us. I'm just trying to figure out, or a lot of us is, how is she able to run the relay but she can't run the 100? Or is that even a possibility of what is going around and floating around?
All right, so I'm gonna give it to you in just some simple terminology, and then I got to go.
All right, good enough.
The United States, I think back in either 88 or I think it was 92, after the 92 Olympic Games, they created a rule that any athlete who qualifies for the Olympic trials is eligible for the Olympic relay pool. Okay?
Okay.
So, for example, if an athlete got hurt before the trials, okay, wasn't able to compete at the trials, that athlete could still be selected to the relay pool based on A, showing fitness, and B, eligibility based on being qualified because they qualified for the Olympic trials, okay?
Okay.
Number one. So put that in your back pocket.
Okay.
Part two. The reason why she can't run the 100 meters is because she was disqualified from the Olympic trials. So that takes her out of the actual Olympic trials meet, which is the selection team processors. Okay? That's how we select our team. Now, there's a decision that has to be made either by the USOC or USATF. I believe it's the USOC because what everybody needs to understand is USA Track and Field, they run the Olympic trials, but once the meet is over, they hand that roster over to the United States Olympic Committee. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that goes to the United States Olympic Committee. It's now Team USA. It's their team. So any rules, governance, or whatever, it has to fall under the USOC. USATF is the national governing body of track and field that falls under the USOC, which is the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. So the USOPC, Olympic Paralympic Committee, okay? So that said, she's been disqualified from the actual Olympic trials meet, so therefore that's why she can't run the 100. But because she was selected to the relay pool before the trials, because she qualified for the trials, she can be named to the relay pool and the team. Now, this is where it gets sticky. It's up to the USOC and USATF to determine whether or not they're going to name her to the Olympic team. The coaches can decide that factor, okay? The USOC can say to the USATF coaches, you decide if you want to take her. And it's up to the coaches at that point to make that decision. But it's going to be based on whether or not they want to take her because she's a contributor to the team, or they don't want to take her because she'll be a distraction to the team. And it could be one of the two or more. It could be a whole bunch of reasons or factors, but they have to make that decision. It's not USATF's team. It's now Team US. It's now Team USA.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
So that would make sense. Why? Because what I heard was that USATF wanted her to run, but then the IOC had the last say so. And right now the IOC hasn't made that decision on. And now I'm talking about the relay. They haven't made that decision on if she can even run the relay. Or is that to the coaches?
Well, it's their meet. It's the IOC's meet.
Yeah, okay. So basically what JD's saying, like that is still pending right now. So they have the final say on if that's going to happen or not. Even though USATF has the decision making on her being still named to the relay pool, which obviously is still a thing, the IOC has this window and everybody is up under that window. So the IOC ultimately has the
hold on. There are two factors. Because y'all throwing out one. World Athletics.
Right.
World Athletics is the federation that governs track and field at the Olympic Games. So there's a lot of moving parts that people don't understand. And so it's hard to kind of explain it if you're not track and field based because you don't know all the names of the players. World Athletics, formerly IAAF, are the governing body over track and field at the International Committee. USOC is the governing body, or USOPC is the governing body over the United States, all the teams in the United States that help select teams to the Olympic team for the Olympic Games. The IOC is the governing body over the Olympics. So the IOC, it's their meet, their basketball, their gymnastics, their swimming, it's their event, okay? They hand it down to each federation. So gymnastics has an international federation, basketball has an international federation, track and field has an international federation. Track and field's international federation is World Athletics. World Athletics has rules, regulations in which we follow under USA Track and Field and the governance of that, okay? Now, where all this is sticky is it comes back down to the local organizing committees. The local organizing committee is USOC here, all right? USATF has done their job. They have named the team based on the top 3 finishes in every event. And so they handed the roster over to the USOC, okay? So now, Sha'Carri's situation is very interesting because she tested positive for I would say a class C drug. It's not a performance enhancement drug. It's not a beta blocker. It's not a diuretic. It's not a masking agent. So I want to get that out of everybody's head because I'm so sick of reading all the uneducated, guesswork people. Do your homework. As people say, do your research. As people say, here it is. You don't have to research it. I'm going to tell you. It's not a diuretic. It's not a blocker. It's not a beta blocker. It's not a performance enhancer. It is not a masking agent. Marijuana is basically a depressant. Okay? So it's on the ban list because before now, it was considered an illegal drug like cocaine, methamphetamine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Mm-hmm. So in most states in the United States, like Oregon, it is not illegal. Okay? So, and if I can be me for a moment.
Of course, that's what Raes Tech is for. Be yourself.
I'd like to know from USATF and everybody else, why would you host a track meet in a city or a state where marijuana is legal, knowing that you got potheads in the organization? So, that said,
thank you.
If you can go to the bar and drink and then go right across the street and get some weed, or it's in the candy machine, guess what? It's going to happen. So, having listened to her story, which I thought was a very good interview she did today on Today's Show, you know, and I know her because I've been around, you know, she lives in the DFW area, so I know her, so I kind of know her background, her story. This young lady has been through a lot, and I'm not making an excuse, I'm not making concessions, I'm just saying her story is what she put out there, all right? I also know she has ADD, and I also know she's got a lot of other stuff going on in her life, right? But given the fact that somebody you don't know roll up on you and tell you your mom died, I can tell you that would affect me kind of differently too. And you know, some folk would have gone out and got drunk and drank, or went out and drank and got drunk. Some folk would have did some other things. She went and got high in a city where marijuana is legal and you could buy it at the grocery store. Okay, and I'm being facetious, but basically that's the case. So, given the circumstances, it's a slap on the wrist suspension. It's a slap on the wrist ban. Okay, 30-day suspension. So what makes this so slippery and so sticky is, number one, she got suspended after the 100 meters, meaning she tested positive after her race. So the fact that she tested positive after her race, that's what disqualified her from the meet, okay? Her ban is up before the actual competition where she would actually run begins, okay? So the question is, do the United States Track and Field name her to the team knowing that she's serving a 30-day slap on the wrist ban? Now, the question also becomes, is that a good message that we're sending out? Is that, you know, something we want to kind of put out there for our young people to know that there's no, consequences or whatever? Listen, that's for those people in that organization to decide. Okay? That's not for us to decide. That's not for Twitter to decide. That's not for the whole community that's saying, oh, it's just weed. The bottom line is, that drug was on the ban list as of today. Now, if we want to argue something, the argument should be take it off the ban list because it has nothing to do with performing. Okay? That should be what everybody's shouting about. Take it off the ban list. Basketball are taking it off, football are taking it off, baseball and a few other sports are taking it off their list. So then take it off the track and field because it's not helping them. We don't have anything in our sport that requires you to be solemn and no, everything we do is aggressive. So at the end of the day, nobody should be walking out on the track high. And if they are, I don't know how they're doing.
I don't know exactly.
But at the end of the day, let's get right back to the grits. Here's the grits. The team coaches can decide she is able to run on the relay because she was already eligible to run on the relay before she stepped on the track at the Olympic trials. Because she had qualified for the Olympic trials and therefore puts her name in the relay pool for them to select her to the team. Okay, that's the only subjectivity to track and field we have. You have a question?
Okay, so for the relay pool, so if you qualify for the Olympic trials.
Hey, welcome to Barber Twins. I didn't know y'all was here.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome to Barber Twins.
Hey.
Go ahead with your question. Go ahead with your question for JD.
Okay, this is because a lot of people don't know, so thank you for clarifying a lot of things, John. So for her, she qualified for the Olympic trials, and that would put her, she's eligible for the relay pool?
That's correct.
Okay. So a lot of people are asking that.
So for example, if Sha'Carri had gotten hurt before the trials, okay, let's say 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before the trials, she got hurt and wasn't able to come to the trials and compete. She could still be named to the relay pool because she was already eligible and qualified for the Olympic team.
Got it. Okay.
Now, unless I can't remember because I'm old now and I'm forgetful, I got gray hair. Unless I missed a step in there where it says you had to compete at the trials.
That's what I saw, and a lot of people are asking that. I did see that. I don't know how old or new this is, but it said you had to compete at the Olympic trials to get into the pool. But it gets sticky if they're saying what she did in 100 doesn't count, and because of that, then how do you get in the pool? That's what a lot of people not in track and field we don't understand.
Well, again, I'm just giving it to you the way I understood it, and y'all can send me some new rules if they have new rules. But from what I understood, what the reason why the rule was put in place because athletes have gotten hurt at our trials or before our trials and were not eligible. So I'm saying if they have a leg to stand on to bring her to the Olympic Games, it would be she qualified for the Olympic trials. Therefore, she's eligible to be put into the Olympic relay pool. Okay? The fact now again, this is what makes it sticky. The fact that she ran the 100 and got disqualified from the meet would deem her ineligible for the Olympic team.
Correct.
Okay? So it comes down to the USOC having a concession for that, or USA Track and Field having a concession for that and allowing her to compete because she did compete at the trials. She just got disqualified.
Well, I have a question, JD. Actually, this question for you because, you coached all of us. Everybody on this thing, you coached us at one point in time, whether it's a team or individually. I'm asking you now as a coach, what would you decide if you was Dennis? I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Would you want her to run the relay still with this, or would you just say don't run nothing?
No, I wouldn't. We would chalk this one up to experience, and I would have a heart-to-heart conversation with her and break down the implications and the importance of what the Olympic means. The reality is this. Here's a harsh reality that everybody's not understanding. And I'm speaking from being the athlete advisory chairman at one time at USA Track and Field. Our team has never been about one person, okay? We have 150 people in our delegation that goes to the Olympic team. And with all due respect, Sha'Carri Richardson is an extremely powerful and incredible talent, okay? She's an incredible talent. I love her. I love everything about her. I love her attitude. I love her personality. I love her speed on the track. I love her interviews. I mean, she's just raw. I like everything about her. She's great for track and field, okay? But at the end of the day, for her to go to the Olympics and not be there as a competitor, only as, say, a relay competitor, is going to take attention away from everyone else who is there to compete. Because everyone that gets off a bus or in the lunchroom or at practice, they're going to have to answer the question, how do you feel about her being here? And in all essence, that's not fair to those people. So when you have people who are going to be out there and have to build a chemistry around her being there and trying to build chemistry, and yet the media and social media and everything else, because there's no way to stop that. There's no way to stop people from getting on social media. There's no way to stop people from having an opinion or whatever. And there's no way to stop the people that are there to speak out on social media or whatever. So you're creating a bigger, say, whirlwind or tornado than necessary. So it's a hard decision for a coach to make, but you would have to look at it from the perspective of this is bigger than you. And it takes the pressure off that if something happens on that relay and they don't get that stick around, she's going to be the blame. So why put her at 21 years old in a greater situation when we already see what got her here in the first place? There were some things that happened in her life that created her to make a bad decision. So you can't predict track and field. We can't predict our team is going to win the relay. We can't predict we're going to get that stick around. We can only see what's happening in practice. So it's a hard decision for business to make. If I'm Dennis Mitchell, I'm sitting down having that heart-to-heart with her and telling her you're young, and we got bigger fish to fry. And we're going to take those fish as they come, but this ain't the one. And take her off the hook.
Good answer. And I want to clear something up real fast, so I'll let one of y'all do it because somebody just asked a question. They keep comparing it to a Michael Phelps situation. Explain to them the difference between Michael Phelps' situation and this situation.
Here's the difference. Michael Phelps was out of competition. Okay, he was 3 months before a competition getting hot. Okay, at the time Michael Phelps got banned, it wasn't legal in any states. So therefore, he was breaking the law. He wasn't just getting high; he was breaking the law. Sha'Carri got high before a competition in a city where or a state where marijuana is legal. So it's not the same. And anybody trying to compare that to say, oh, well, he was an Olympian, he got high. He got high when it was illegal. And the USOC has some very staunch and strict rules about doping and, out of competition doping and all of that kind of stuff. So Michael Phelps' situation is not the same as Sha'Carri, okay? And while he is a decorated athlete, in his defense, he should not even been brought into the discussion because his marijuana smoking was, one, considered illegal at the time, not banned substance, but it was an illegal substance in the United States of America, okay? And the USOC frowns on that stuff. This is different because now in certain states it is legal, and we just happen to have our championships in the state where it's legal, okay? So in the case of her, it's not a comparison. It's not the same thing. If she had gotten high out of competition, this wouldn't even be a discussion.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand that either. That that's the difference too. Like if it's out of competition, and that's for me. That's why I have a problem with that rule, because it's like if it's out of competition, you can do it, but during competition you can't. So now it's like, well, why y'all tiptoeing the line? Like, are you saying it's okay for me to smoke? Or are you saying it's okay for me not to smoke as an athlete? Because you almost endorsing it in the offseason, saying in the offseason you're fine, do what you want. During season, not do it. For me, I have a problem with that, because if you're gonna ban something, it should be banned, period. Like year round. That's almost,
Here it is, Ray. They should just take it off the list, and that's all.
That too. That solves everything. Just take it off the damn list.
Just take it off the list, and it solves the problem. Because at the end of the day, it has been proven. Okay, USADA, WADA, and all the scientists have proven it's not a diuretic. Okay, it's not a beta blocker. It's not a performance enhancement. It is not a masking agent. It's nothing about marijuana that has anything to do with performing in track and field that actually has any advantage. So since they know that, they've proven that, and now that it's legal in most states and in most countries, it's time to stop being antiquated, take it off the list. Now, am I a proponent of smoking weed and all that stuff? I don't get into none of that. That's a whole bunch of sticks that I don't need to get into. But the bottom line is, at this point, what everybody needs to be arguing and shouting and fussing about is just take marijuana off the list, period. Okay?
Yeah.
If she'd have gone out, let me ask this question. Would we even be having the discussion if she went out and got sloppy drunk? No. If we had picked her up off of a sidewalk somewhere, that would be the story. She went out and got sloppy drunk and then came and made the team. We wouldn't have a discussion. The only way it would be an issue is if she got behind the wheel of a car and drove and got stopped by the police. You understand?
Yep.
So she broke the rules. Did she break the rules? Yes, she broke the rules, because right now marijuana is on the ban list. Does she have to serve a suspension? Yes, it's a 30-day slap on the wrist suspension. She has to serve. The question is, will the team make a decision based on her eligibility, because she qualified for the trials? She did run the trials and got disqualified, but she could be a benefit to the team. Now, you got people out there on both sides of the moral compass of it saying, oh, she needs to learn a lesson. Oh, it was a slap on the wrist. So whatever, she learned her lesson. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm just saying, they have to make that decision, and they need to hurry up, because I don't think, in all fairness to everybody else, it's taking away from their excitement and fun. Because they're
100%.
doing some things, and if it was me, I would be wanting them to talk about me right now.
Exactly. So then my last question then, just hypothetically speaking, with something like this, wouldn't it seem like it should be something that should be voted upon by her peers, actually? Like them deciding whether or not, I mean, I know it's not going to happen that way, but them deciding whether or not, yes, we would like for her to still run on a relay, or no, we don't. You see what I'm saying? Like, because
there's an organization in USA Track and Field called the Athlete Advisory Council. Okay, I know about the Athlete Advisory Council because I was the chairman for 6 years, and I'm gonna say it because I don't care. If
that's what Raes take us for.
We wouldn't even have an issue. Okay, this would have been resolved at the trials because they knew about her test before July 1st. Okay, so before it even became an issue of notifying and her having interviews or whatever, we would have already decided her fate so that we can move on. All right, we're perpetuating the Olympic Games for the people who have made the team because they have made this a media frenzy. Okay, I respect everything that her team is doing because that's what they should be doing. They should be putting her in front of the camera. They should be allowing her the opportunity to speak, and she's done a phenomenal job. And I applaud her team and her people, her family, and I support her. I think Sha'Carri should have all the support from all of the athletes because any one of us, it could have been any one of them. Okay? Nobody is free from what she's experiencing, and it will happen again. Trust me, it's going to happen again. But at the end of the day, to answer your question, Ray, yes, athletes need to get behind her whether they agree or disagree, because it needs to be a unified front to athletes. When they say we want something, then they should be unified and make them give it to them. And we don't always have to agree, but if we come in the room as a unified body, then the organization has to listen. And that's the failing factor of the AAC right now. There's not a unified body. When I was there as the chairman, and I'm saying it, we were unified. None of this foolishness would be happening, because there would have already been a group of people, a group of committee members who would have sat down, her peers would have had the discussion, and we would have came to the organization and saying, this is what we want, okay? And I'm not feeling that. I'm not hearing that. I'm not getting that. So at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen. The AAC is a body. It's about 1,500 athletes in the organization, and you got names like Allison Felix that was coming to the convention. You got the Barber twins that was coming to the conventions. You got Manteo that was coming to the conventions. And when we went to the room, and if it was an issue, we had a conversation about it. When we came out, we got what we wanted. Am I right? Am I right or wrong?
That's the thing. That's
go ahead.
That's a really good and valid point, because whether they realize it or not, we as athletes, we have the voice. It's just that they're afraid to use it. So without us, there is no track and field. Without us, there is no show. So obviously, you know, the athletes within the body that you're mentioning, you have a lot of weight that you hold, but a lot of people are afraid to speak up. So yeah, I feel you on that, JD.
Why do you think they're afraid to speak
up? They don't
up?
want to be on the wrong side. People are afraid because they don't want to be on the wrong side of the narrative. Okay.
Right.
And sometimes athletes too some people feel like if you're not a big name, like, you know, that even if you do voice your opinion, you don't get heard. So sometimes athletes feel that way as well. Like, well, my vote doesn't matter, you know. So that's the thing as well. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call with athletes and voicing your opinion.
And I wanna say this though. I feel like it wouldn't have gotten to this point. I mean, JD, you made a lot of valid points, but I really feel like it goes back to the media as well, because everybody thought, before we actually found out what it truly was, everybody thought it was a steroid. Mm-hmm. And it was because of how the media portrayed it. So I feel like her team, and it's no shade to her team or whoever is managing her, or if she even has a media management team or whatever. If she doesn't, I would recommend getting one. Mm-hmm. That's just in my more honest opinion, because at the level that she's at, she needs that. She doesn't need to just speak for herself all the time. It's okay to be herself, but to have a team to make sure, because right now she is her biggest brand. She is the brand. Mm-hmm. And to be able to have a team around her, a network of people around her that have her in their best interest, and everything that she's supporting. So all the brands and all the different organizations, all those things mean a lot more under the surface. So being able to put a message out and say, hey, this is what went down, this is probably what's going to happen, and this is how we're going to assess it, and we're going to go forward. Be on the lookout for something soon. I apologize to my fans, whatever. Like, that's the professional thing that, you know, Ray, you and I talked about that probably 2 months ago when we first started this thing off, just talking about the professionalism in our sport. It is non-existent in some cases. And I just feel like even us as athletes, we did her a disservice if you didn't say anything, or if you didn't speak up, and that's for not just her, but any athlete, whether you know the details or not. I just try not to judge people before I see the final stat. I try not to judge people. Like, I'm gonna defend you until it says I shouldn't be defending you anymore because of X, Y, Z. And then I might fade off a little bit. I might fade off because at the end of the day, like you said, at least, it's a lot of people that feel like they don't have a voice, and they may say, oh, if I say something, then I'm going to lose a little bit of coins that I have, or I'm going to lose a bit of the clout that I have. But at the end of the day, we are a collective group. I know it's an individual sport. We run a couple relays here and there, but we are a collective group. And if we don't work together, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. I mean, we can easily turn things around. If we don't want to run, if everybody doesn't show up for a Diamond League meet, they're not going to hold that Diamond League meet. It's that simple.
Nope. No. And piggybacking off what you said, that was why before the media actually even started saying it was marijuana, the minute I found out, that was the first thing I ran to Twitter to do, to make sure, like, no, we're not going to allow them to control the narrative. We're not going to allow y'all to start saying that it's PEDs, possible PEDs. No, it was medical marijuana. Why was it medical? Because she's in Oregon. So that's the one thing, like, as athletes, we have to do that. We have to continue to have each other's back because, like y'all said, it's so many of us to where we can control our own narrative. We can't continue to sit back and let them control the narrative, nor can we continue to sit back and let them control the sport, essentially. It's like JD is saying, like all of us are really saying, our voices matter if we speak together. They don't matter if we're speaking separately. And I think at this particular time, this is one of those situations to where it's like, okay, y'all, come on. She messed up. Even if y'all have to punish her, that's fair enough. But collectively, we don't like this rule. So collectively, we need to sit down and figure out how to fix this.
That's a very strong point, Ray. And if we can really kind of hang on that tone right there. One of the greatest issues, and let me just be very transparent. I'm on an 8-year mandatory vacation myself. Okay. And y'all have not heard from me. I've not made no qualms about it. I got a whole lot of stuff that I can say and write it in a book. But at the end of the day, I'm living it real. And I've seen what happens in that room. I watched how that process happens. And it's a lot of things that go wrong in that room, in that process. And I've said this before, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on record because they can't do nothing to me. I've always said United States Anti-Doping Agency has never been an agency trying to clean the sport up. There's always been an agency that dirties athletes. Because if they were trying to clean up the sports, they would be creating rules and regulations that benefit the sport versus just attacking and going after athletes. Yes, you got cheaters and everything, but everybody that's getting banned for things are not on the same level as someone who is intentionally changing and altering a steroid so they won't get caught. You got people who are on the same ban list as those people who have done that took a cold medicine in February right before a track meet because they had a freaking cold. And because it had pseudoephedrine in it, they got banned. And so their name is on that list, ever ingrained on that list, and their life is tarnished. And I tell people all the time, if there's a bigger issue going on right now with Breonna Rollins, we can talk about a lot of stuff that's going on. But like Sha'Carri is not the only one. And it's not that, she smoked weed. It's no, the process and the policies that affect the athletes need to be reviewed. And yes, they just now, after I don't know how many years, created an advisory panel and put athletes on it. But I question even some of the athletes that they put on it because those people are haters. And I'm just going to say it like that. And y'all can look them up and figure out who these people are. But if you got haters on a committee that's hating on other athletes, of course, they're going to create rules that benefit their narrative. And this is not about one person. This is about an entire organization, and we need to clean it up. How is it that NASCAR can have a bunch of cars on the track and race, and you have drivers who are better than other drivers, but all the cars are the freaking same? So if NASCAR can figure out how to do that, how come track and field can't? Okay, here's a suggestion. Instead of telling us what we can't take, create a list of what we can and say if you deviate from that list, then we put you on suspension or ban or with all that kind of stuff. But don't sit here and give me 1,500 things and then you modify that list and say, okay, now here's another 800 things. And then you modify that list and say, here's another 500 things that you can't take. And then decide 2 years later, okay, 300 of those things you can take now. It's freaking confusing.
Well, here's my question.
Then you dehumanize me because you come to my house at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm sleeping in bed with my wife or my children or whatever, and wake me up and tell me I gotta stand you with my pants down around my ankles and my t-shirt up above my nipples and pee in front of you. And I don't know you from Adam. We ain't even kissed. Okay, so it's a whole lot of stuff about the process in the organization that's just wrong. Okay, I'm looking at Breonna's situation right now, and I wish I was in an organization because there's no reason why Breonna Rollins should be suspended for 5 years. This woman just put her life on blast. She had an abortion the morning or the day before that they came to her house to test her. Would you have answered the freaking door? Hell no.
Nope.
You wouldn't have answered the door.
Nope.
So at the end of the day, we have to put our lives on open blast to defend ourselves. Meanwhile, they sit up in their office and create rules. I read something the other day about, I forget whose case this was, but they said that Nasir's case. I think it was Nasir's case. They said in Nasir's case that they can determine if they want to. The majority in the panel can determine if they want to, whether it's a filing failure or a mistest. They can just, in the middle of the trial, change their mind.
What?
How fair is that to the people out there competing?
How in the hell can you do that?
That's a good question, Ray, and that's what everybody needs to find out. And this is what I'm saying. It's time for athletes to stop being afraid. The reason why John Drummond is who he is and the things that he's done and get in trouble for is because I was never afraid to go up against the system. I laid on a track because the false start rule was wrong.
You did do that.
The false start rule was wrong. I fought the false start rule for 10 years, and it took them 10 years to change the rules. Okay? Now, however long it takes for them to change the rules, athletes need to step up and say, we're going to fight until something happens. The only time athletes fight is when it directly impacts them individually. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, we've been talking about unionizing. We've had the PAA, the Professional Athletes Association. We've had the TFAA, the Track and Field Athletes Association. Now with the TAA, another association that came out. And the only reason why that association popped up is because the triple jump was taken out of the Diamond League. We got to stop waiting for stuff to happen to step up and talk about the real stuff. And athletes have the position and the power to do that. Okay? Sha'Carri is not the first person who has ever been hit with this type of ban. There was a long jumper that was hit with the same similar ban. Fortunately, it was up before the trials. So he was able to come and compete.
Hold on. Hold on, because you know this is like it's ESPN. So I just got this from an unknown source. I can't disclose them, but this is what they just said. They are meeting Tuesday about trying to get her to run. They are getting flooded with a boycott. I literally just got that text like now. So I don't know. I guess good. But yeah, they meeting on Tuesday. But here's what I wanted to say, and I want to ask this question. So I know you said that they can change up, rules so they can actually change up punishments. Because I'm gonna go ahead and be open. So in 2004. The same thing happened to me. Like 2004, and it's on Wikipedia, so I feel comfortable saying it because if you Wikipedia me, they put it on there. I failed a drug test for the exact same reason that she failed. But my thing is, I received a public warning. Why did she get suspended? Because I didn't get suspended. And again, this is researchable. I'm finna now put them on blast and put it out there. I failed for the exact same thing, that THC long word. It's on my Wikipedia. When I failed, they gave me a public warning. I didn't get suspended. So what happened between then and now? Huh?
Legal.
No, it was completely legal. Yeah, it was banned.
There was a time where marijuana wasn't on.
No. This was 2004. No, 2004. Trust me. I received it's on my it's on my Wikipedia. I received a public warning for failing the drug test for smoking marijuana in 2004. And this is when it wasn't legal nowhere. So I pretty much was breaking the law. It wasn't legal nowhere. But USA Track and Field only gave me, they literally gave me nothing. We didn't even slap on the wrist. Like, look it up. They gave me a public warning, which is pretty much, if you Google me, you can see I failed the drug test. My question is, okay, what's so different between that and hers and mine?
They changed it though. The rules are now, if you test positive in competition, you will be suspended. That's
my thing. When did they change that?
It's a 30-day, it's a 3-month, they have, again, they don't classify it differently. They just basically suspend you differently. And that's my problem with that whole concept. Because there needs to be names for it to classify it, so everybody's not put on the same list. Okay? Sha'Carri Richardson has now got to live out the term she's a drug cheat, because that's all we saw on social media for the past 48 hours. She's a drug cheat. She's not a drug cheat. She did what just about everybody does at their house on any given Sunday. And okay, for those people say, oh, she was stupid. Let me tell you something. At 21 years old, I don't know how I would have handled the news of somebody that I don't know telling me my mom died. Okay?
At 21 years old?
I'm 52 years old.
At 21, how many of us did stupid stuff, period?
I'm 52 years old, okay? Hold on, Ray. I'm 52 years old, and my mom died, and I still have emotional moments at 52 years old, okay? So I'm not saying what she did was right. And I'm not saying that that was not the right time and platform or whatever, but I just think that everybody need to take a pause a minute and step back, because everybody don't have the Holy Ghost. Everybody ain't saved and, fire baptized. Some folks just deal with life differently, okay? But it's still emotional. And in people's humanity, and I'm not defending her, I'm speaking to just the humanity of how all of us deal or handle with things. At 21 years old, she probably had people telling her, chill out, calm down, or whatever. But how many people have had friends, and I got kids that are 21 and don't listen to me, okay? So, in heated moments and situations, you have walked out of rooms when folk been trying to reason with you and gone and did stupid stuff. So I just think everybody need to pause and chill on that piece, because this was different than just her out recreationally getting high, okay? And because you don't know her story, we all of a sudden, because on social media, everybody is, geniuses and everybody on social media are experts, and pundits, they can just basically say what they want to say. And I don't really care. But the reality is, this is the Olympic year. This is the Olympic Games. It's a once in a lifetime thing. It comes once every 4 years. So this one moment in time, it's hard to tell somebody you can't run or you need to wait. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard conversation to have. But at the end of the day, like you saying, Ray, and like Miki, I can't tell y'all apart because I'm not close, and I always
come on, John. You know by now.
I can't tell y'all apart, and I got glasses on, so y'all can see. I can't even see no more. But at the end of the day, you made a valid point. They've changed the rules again, and they had the liberty to change the rules again and again and again. And before they change, again, until recently, and I think it's been in the last maybe 2 or 3 years, now they have a quote unquote advisory panel of athletes, but they didn't have that before. So they were just doing whatever they want, and they've been able to do whatever they want, okay, as often as they want, and change the dynamics of the rules or whatever. And the reality is, from this conversation, I'm hoping something sparks the attention of every athlete that's listening. You have the position and the power in your organization to control the narrative, because it is about y'all. Nobody wants a drug cheat in the sport, okay? Nobody. But everybody that's being deemed drug addicts, or everybody that's being deemed drug cheats, have not cheated. And if it was, some of these that have been deemed drug cheats wasn't intentional. And if you don't have people fighting for you, like Ray said earlier, you don't have a collective voice in this and defending it, then guess what? You're all individuals hanging out to dry, and it's a matter of time before it's you. And then that's when everybody wants everybody's help. No, help each other now. I remember, I'm gonna make this last point and then I'll shut up. I remember when I was the athlete advisory chair, I was having a meeting with the athletes, and I was telling them we have a voice. And there was, I'm not going to say no names because, I ain't trying to put people on blast, but there were some athletes and there was some organizational heads that were telling these athletes, you guys need to just focus on running and allow us to focus on the organization. Okay? And those athletes came into the meeting, was like, we need to focus on running, and we did, and let them handle the business. They're the business people. We're the runners. Okay, so
that's why we in this mess now. That's why we in this mess now. For that, what you just said is why we in this mess.
And my point is, you got a bunch of people with education and degrees, and you're telling us that we're not smart enough to be able to sit at the table with the business folk and handle and manage our own business? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Half the stuff the athletes have today was given on the backs of all of us that came before them. The team doctors and credentials for coaches or whatever, we fought for that. The organization didn't fight to give it to us. We fought to make them give it to us. So that let me know that the power is not with the organization and their decisions. The power is with us and what our needs are. And if athletes would take that position and say, hey, this is what we need, whether, again, you don't have to agree with everything, but be a part of the narrative that is in the agreement part. You can fight behind closed doors and come out with the right answer.
Well, because I want Mick and Lisa to hop in real quick, but I want to ask you a question because you're making a lot of sense. So is it possible for athletes to actually create their own quote unquote, I'd say union outside of USA Track and Field, to where let's just say Ray Edwards creates an LLC and says this LLC is a track and field union. Any athlete as part of track and field can be a part of this union. It has no attachment to USA Track and Field whatsoever, but you have to be a quote unquote athlete. Would that be possible to create something like that, and then that be able to be taken to USA Track and Field? Like, okay, it's not an athlete, it's an athlete representative company that's based of all the athletes, and you get like a Chris Paul. You got one person that goes to talk with you in track and field, but it's speaking for all of the athletes. Is that something that could be done outside of trying to get USA Track and Field or anybody else to give a union or create one?
Yes. In short, yes. I mean, I can give you a whole speech behind it. Like I said, there's been the PAA, the Professional Athletes Association, that was created. There's the Track and Field Athletes Association that was created. And then you have the Athletes Association that was created. They're all independent of USATF, okay? And they all can be the voice and union or whatever you want to call it for athletes. The problem is our sport is so large, and you have a second tier of athletes who will not join it or won't join it because they don't at this time feel it's necessary. And it's people at the top too. You got some athletes that are at the top like, oh, I ain't got time for that. I'm running fast. I'm getting in meets. I'm getting paid. So that's for y'all to be concerned about. Until athletes see that we're all the same, when things like this happen, this is when we're all the same. When things like this happen is when you recognize there is no top tier, there is no bottom tier. And I want to also dispel this other myth that, the United States is protecting athletes. USADA don't protect nothing. They do everything they can to ban athletes in the United States.
You can't see that, Jack. Something wrong with you.
If they can get you for chewing bubble gum on the wrong day, they will suspend you for chewing bubble gum.
USADA is the parole board. I keep trying to tell people that is the district attorney's office. They are not your lawyers. They are here to prosecute you, not to protect you. We got to figure that part out. Man. Well, go ahead, Twins.
On a good note with Sha'Carri, I've had so many mixed emotions about this topic, because like all of us, we've all been athletes. We've all made mistakes, and we've done good things and stuff like that. But I just, want to send my condolences to her and her mother. And sometimes it's really hard to take on that pressure and take on all the things that are going on in the world. And that just shows what's going on right now. Even for her to respond I'm only human, it shows that a lot of people are dealing with mental illnesses, and they don't know how to cope with things. And we just don't know. So it's just been a whirlwind of emotions, and I hope we can all just support her. She is young. I mean, before this happened, she might have been looked at as bad, and she's this. And I like the support from Coach Shavers, from Nike, from USADA. She's seen that, she's seen that, and she's taking accountability. It was a bad decision, and like you said, John. And I don't know how it would be if someone told me my mom passed like that. I mean, and that's a real life situation. And then here's a good side of her. Everybody doesn't get to tell their story like her. She's really on every news channel right now, everything, where she's the face of that. Yes, I made a mistake, and I have to pay the consequences, which is big. Now she can't run in the Olympics. That my mind has changed a lot over it. I had a lot of mixed things, but at the end of the day, this is real life is going on. Real life with pressure, with depression, with making a bad decision that can, cost you a lot. And we have to be there for people in general, to support them. We can't turn our back on her right now. And I just like seeing that support, where right now she's the face of telling her story, which is similar to a lot of people. But a lot of people hide things. They didn't get caught or whatever. And like you said, John, everybody has different outlets of how to cope with things. Some people might get drunk. Some people might get mad and lash out. And it's a reaction of trauma. And hers was just that. It was that. I mean,
in a state where marijuana is legal.
You can go across the street and get it. This isn't
I can't help but laugh at that, because it's funny to me. It's like this. It's like this, man. This is what makes this funny to me. And I've made some jokes about it. And, I tried to make it as light and fun and funny, because it's just really, it's a bad thing, but it's at the same time, somewhere in here, you got to laugh. Yeah. But it's like USATF has been going to Oregon for years, and Oregon has always been known to be a granola type of, so weed and access to weed is a lot easier in Oregon than probably anywhere else in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been having our national championships there, and all of a sudden now we gonna be marijuana police. It's like, stop playing.
But you know what? Before, because I know we're getting close. Because we've been on here but before we go any further, has it even been disclosed yet? Or was she smoking, or was she having an edible? Like, I mean, all he's ever said was marijuana.
It's not out.
Huh?
It's in there already.
It's probably in there somewhere, but
It's in there.
Because I haven't actually read it anywhere to where it disclosed whether it was edible or was it marijuana, yada yada yada. But for me, the way I look at it is this right here. She's 21 years old. And the thing about being 21 is we're so used to, the US champ and like we're used to people being, I guess of age, because usually it's after you get through college before you even get to where she's at. Except for unless you're YouTube, which you're exceptional in college and still made it. But most of the time, the fastest woman ain't gonna be 21 years old. I think we got to keep in mind just that, like, we put a lot of pressure on her, period. I mean, again, coming back off of what JD said, I mean, I know some of her AAU coaches and everything. I know her story. And she's had, I go on record and say it has not been a beautiful life. And then when we put that in the aspect, she's only 21. So she's still real close to everything that happened to her. She hasn't had enough time to grow out of it. She's still real close to the fact that, she had to grow up with her aunt. Her mental is still kind of trapped with what she went through from 15 through 18 and from being a child, because she's still a child. So we put the pressure on her for that, though.
I just got a question though, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And this ain't got nothing to do with nothing but nothing. If she was Jamaican, would we be having this problem?
Man, if she was Jamaican, I wouldn't even have no show right now, Jack. We wouldn't even be on TV if she was Jamaican right now.
I want to know, and some of my friends, some of my Jamaican friends, they're blowing me up today. But I just want to know, is it not on the ban list in Jamaica? That's all I want to know.
But no, guys, this is a good thing, though. Honestly, this is a good thing that happened to Sha'Carri. It's bad, but she's really brought awearness to this that people do.
Wait. I got one more. So Amsterdam, ain't that these skippers from Amsterdam?
Yep, that's where she's from now.
Okay, so they don't have marijuana. How come this only the American athletes tested positive for marijuana?
But here's another thing too. You have to be smarter about how you do things, though. For real.
Really?
Because that is for everybody. It's not, to be honest.
I want to know, did any of the officials at the Olympic trials?
You know they did. I'm going to say it. You know they did. Now, I'm going to say it. It's my show, damn it. You know she wasn't the only one out there that was token. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to say it.
Did any of the commentators?
You know they went across the street.
She can turn this into something else, though. It's mental health. This is dealing with grief, dealing with depression,
grief
dealing with
grief
is real. This just happened, and sometimes we have to. She's the epitome of sometimes making I wouldn't even say a bad decision, a real emotional decision through hard times that we're all living through right now in COVID. Everybody, just like your mom, JD, and that's the thing that to me, Sha'Carri, right now. She's opening so many doors where you have Gabrielle Union tweeting about her. Iman Shumpert, I said his name wrong. Michelle Obama, Odell Beckham that are backing her. Mm-hmm. This is not
because it's real.
Really
because this is real. Athletes understand. Athletes and people in this state. First of all, people whose lives are constantly on in say the public eye. They know what it's like to deal with unnecessary and unwanted pressure, okay? Coming from everywhere, especially with Twitter and everything else where everybody has access and can just say what they want to say to you. Mm-hmm. And so just keeping it 100 and real, you're making a very strong point to a lot of what we're experiencing that people don't know. Athletes deal with a lot of stuff before they get to a championship.
Man.
And then have to suppress that to get through the championship.
What?
And then when they finally achieve the goal, they still now have to stay on top of a level to maintain that. And some people say, well, you're an athlete, you ask for that. You're right, we do ask for it, but at some point, can we be human?
You just gave every reason why. You just gave to me
all of it.
Everything you said is why we need to have. Everything you just said to me, I'm just gonna say it's my show live. I tell you, I don't want to say my show. Everything you just said is the reason why we should be able to smoke weed, doggone it. You know how stressful it is being an athlete? Do you know how stressful it is?
No, people don't.
I don't think they get how stressful it is. You training for 9 months for a possibility of still being broke. That's stressful enough by itself. That's number one. Number two, when you leave in the practice and your legs is falling off, lactic acid is kicking your tail, you might be a little stressed because you can't work out next day. That's two. Then you're aging up your tail to myself, well, I can't get you no lane, but you got to do this again. Then little small meat, I'm stressed again. Now your shoe coming in here talking about, hey, you know it's your, it's the year, this your contract year. If you don't do good, you know, it's your option year. I'm stressed again. Now, if I get the USAs and don't run good, I'm stressed even more because I can't get a lane. If anybody should smoke weed, it's us. Shit. You know how much pressure we go through.
Watch this, guys.
I'm just saying.
Watch this. I'm about to throw y'all something real heavy. USA Track and Field is supposed to be the union for athletes. But it seems that athletes are working for USATF. I said it. And at the end of the day, that narrative needs to change. Okay? Now, when they talk about her team and everything you say, Ray, is so real because the stuff that athletes in track and field especially, I can't speak to football because their minimum wage is like $250,000 or $500,000.
You ain't got no stress.
That's minimum wage.
You ain't stressed at all, buddy.
You know how many athletes could live on a minimum wage football salary in track and field?
We don't understand that. I'm lost.
You know, and we still got to pay for our massage therapy. And Ray, you create your company, Go Cairo, you know, and you know, you got people that got to pay for a chiropractor. We're talking about there is no minimum wage in track and field. There's get in where you fit in and hope you run fast.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. And even when you are that one and you have that contract, if you don't live up to that contract, they have reduction clauses in some of these contracts, and you got so much time to live up to this stuff. And so there's a bunch of narratives that we don't even get to talk about, and people think, oh, he made the Olympics, so he rich, you know, and then they go Google you and see what your net worth is, and that most of the time that's a lie, you know. So, you know, the reality is there's so many things that track and field athletes have to deal with. And it starts from the grassroots level. I was at an age group track meet today. That's why I'm able to be on this call, because I was with my son. He made it to the Junior Olympics, hallelujah, for the first time.
Congratulations. Walking in the footsteps of the Pops.
You know what I'm saying? For the first time, little Destin. And I'm happy for him. But at the end of the day, I'm out there and I'm like, it's a 50 million kids and 1,800 doggone like heats. And it's like we are so used to, I hate to say it this way, we're so used to being devalued that even when we get to the highest level, we accept what they give us. Yep. And I'm sorry, I was never built that way. And that's why I fought so hard for athletes, and I still fight hard for athletes. And I believe that's why I'm not in the organization right now, because I was fighting hard for athletes and I was getting things done, and the powers that be didn't like it, because I was taking money out of their pocket.
I was about to say, I'm saying for you because you were taking money out of their pocket, but you said it yourself. But yeah, I'm just gonna say it anyway for you because you were messing up their money. But that's what it is. I'm just saying. Like,
when you have since when I ran track, they haven't changed. Maybe they've improved it by say $5,000, but they haven't improved prize money but $5,000 since I ran track. So you win USA championships. When you win USA championships, back in my day, I think you got $2,500.
Yeah.
When you won USA championships, you got like $2,500. I think you get like 75 or 10,000 now.
10,
you know? Okay, you get 10 now. Okay, it's 2021 and you're just getting 10,000. Come on, people. Come on.
Yeah.
But that's what we got to live off of. Not everybody gets a multi-million-dollar contract from New Balance and Nike and Adidas. Okay?
Yeah.
Not everybody gets that. A lot of them get a shoe deal where it comes with equipment and bonuses. And you got people who have been in the sport, and Barber Twins, you can speak to this. You've been in the sport where you've been making teams, and people who haven't even made a team made more money than you. And that part is what's killing the narrative in our sport, and that's the part that I think athletes need to understand. The selfishness in our sport is what's killing the sport.
Hold on, because I was one of them athletes though, so don't do that part, man. Because I was one of them athletes. I'm gonna confess. The year that I made the team in 09, I'm gonna tell y'all, Nike gave me more money than people who was on top.
Me too.
No, but what John said is right, man. Good. I'm like, John, I don't run for y'all no more. I said I want to say, yeah, when I got third, I got more money than the folks that had won. But that's just putting it out there.
But you had to make the team.
I had to make the team, though. I had to make the team, though. Go ahead, Manteo.
You got people that make millions and hundreds of thousands, and you got people that barely scratch the surface, make 15K. You got to get those people that are at the top of the spectrum to speak out and say, hey, look, there's a lot of disparities in our sport. There are a lot of people that are working hard, and of course, making teams and being named to these different things, and of course, being marketable. Those are things that I don't think athletes really pay attention to. You do have to be marketable to these brands more than just what you do on the track, because off the track, you're serving them face as well. So like somebody like Sha'Carri, like whether you agree or disagree with her persona, which I love it. It's different. She stands out. I love what she brings to the sport. I love what she brings to the outside of the sport as well. You got people like the Barber Twins said, you got everybody talking about her, but at the end of the day, everybody benefits off of that in some kind of way if you're in track and field. So we need to support her.
Yep.
We have to support her because at the end of the day, right now, whether you want to believe it or not, out there, if you're watching this, Sha'Carri is the face of USA track and field.
Yep.
She's the face of sports right now.
And of the whole sport, whether it's negative or positive, we have to stand behind her, whether it's good or bad, and say, look, if it's good, we stand with her. If it's bad, we still stand with her, and we're going to try to figure out how we can help benefit from this and how we can progress from this, because at the end of the day, it is a learning lesson for some people, because I guarantee you, matter of fact, I know for a fact there are athletes out there that did not know that was a rule.
Yep. A lot of folks ask me that same thing.
A whole lot of people didn't know.
You just saved somebody's ass, to be real with you.
What, the people that know that smoking weed was a rule?
They didn't. I guarantee. What I'm saying is, I guarantee you that there are people that probably were out there smoking weed and just didn't get caught or didn't get tested.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yep. That's definitely fair to say.
Especially since it's legal now.
Yep.
Exactly.
So,
and I think a lot of people leave things too. Oh, well, you should have read the rules. Read the rules. Yada yada yada. First of all, if the rules are constantly changing, but you telling me and let me put it in perspective. When you tell me don't worry about it, you just focus on running, okay? And this is to agents, this is to USATF officials, this is to USATF chairs and whatever. When y'all tell us, oh, y'all just focus on running, but the rules are constantly changing, and then when something happens, you come back and tell us, well, you should have read the rules. Which is it? Okay? Mm-hmm. And that's what gets me frustrated about everything that's happening right now. You know, no nation can rise above the level of its leadership. Okay? Let me get deep for a second. So whoever's in charge of athletes, that's their position and job to take the hit and the helm to make sure that their group is aware and informed constantly. Okay? When I was the athlete advisory chairman, I made it my business. My secretary was disseminating information constantly. My vice chair was speaking and communicating constantly. My treasurer was keeping up to date with all the funds and resources constantly. And athletes were aware of what was going on because we made sure, and we created things that they even use today. Things that they're working with today, we created during that time because it was important for athletes to have the information real time. We didn't have internet. We didn't have Twitter and all that stuff. It came into being while we were growing into the sport, but it didn't exist. We had to do email, text messages, and phone calls. Now we were able to communicate with less avenues and outlets of information and keep everybody informed. And here today, they've created a whole bunch of stuff and they keep moving the freaking bar. And the sad reality is you got people who keep mouthing off, well, she should have did this, she should have known that. Where was her team? Where was these people? Everybody got a support team. Everybody got people. But at the end of the day, it's everyone's responsibility in track and field who is an athlete to keep up and protect your brother or your sister, whether you like them or not. Because I'm going to say it again. I said it before. I'm getting old and starting to repeat myself. But at any point in time, any one of y'all, and Manteo just said it, it can be you. Yes, there's a bunch of people out there that are unaware of all the rules that they're supposed to read and know. And it's hard to read and know all that stuff when you at practice, like Ray said, and you get your butt kicked at practice, you lacked it. All you want to do is go home and eat and go to sleep. You ain't trying to read nothing. That's keeping it 100.
And what's even worse, I'm going to piggyback off of that. Even if you read it, I'm going to be honest, not just because I'm from Alabama, I can't pronounce half that shit that's on the damn list. So how in the hell I'm supposed to go to the store and be like, okay, I know I can't have this because this says to connect. We don't even know what the list is. So for me, that's why I got a problem with it because it's like, these words are, again, if it wasn't THC, you still can't say the word that it is. So it's like for the athlete, it's like, come on, y'all, give us a break sometimes. Like, well, it had epinut, samatama in it. Bro, I don't even know how to say that. How do I supposed to know that was in it? You know what I'm saying? Like, give us a break sometime.
Yeah, I think right now, this is everything that is happening right now. One is happening. That's good. It's good that it's happening because it's bringing a lot of awareness to our organization. I think the people in the organization at USATF need to really make this a topic of discussion, and it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be handled. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be reorganized, reassessed, and reevaluated. Whatever, all the reads. It needs to be all the reads, and it needs to get fixed. Yep. It needs to get fixed. And I think, and I applaud Sha'Carri again. I can't say this enough. I don't want her to think I'm a hater. I'm the panda. The panda it's no, I don't discriminate. And I talk about everybody. That panda is real. He's real. And I don't discriminate, and no one is safe. I've been having a good time with this. But I just want her to know, in all fairness to her, in her defense, I've been defending her. I've been talking to people about her, and I've been telling her the story I know. I know Dennis. I've raced with Dennis. I've trained with Dennis. He's a great coach, and he's a good person. And I know he has been doing everything he can to, get her where she's trying to go and protect her as an athlete, as a person. And everybody wants to talk about people's past, where everybody got a past. Okay, ain't nobody perfect here. In track and field, I can go do a list of people and start naming off names who tested positive for drugs. And all of your superstars have had some type of encounter with the World Anti-Doping Agency and USADA and whatever. But at the end of the day, in all of this that's happening right now, I am glad that, one, she has handled herself with poise. She has handled herself with great stature and stature. And I'm a fan. I'm going to continue to be a fan. I wish I could have, I've watched her through high school. I've watched her at LSU. I even gave her props before anybody knew who she was on the Real Deal Track and Field. Let me give a shout out because that's where it's happening. All the other track sites are imitations. So if you want the real deal, come to Real Deal Track and Field on Facebook because we talk about real track. Ain't no fakeness, ain't no imitators, and everybody who's anybody, their mama and their uncles is in there.
Speaking of that, is Raes tape going to be on the Real Deal Track and Field?
Let me address that. Go
ahead and address it. Go. I didn't bring it up. They did.
We have not banned Raes tape from the page. Okay? Ray left the page on Ray's own. Okay, we didn't kick Ray out. We didn't.
He's right.
Ray left the page. Okay?
I did.
Ray was coming on the page before he was Raes tape, and Ray was saturating the page with Ray. And I kept telling Ray that we need to talk about other stuff than Ray, okay? So when Ray started Raes tape, me and Ray got on the phone and me and Ray talked about Raes tape. And I told him, cut them shorter and we'll play them. But we can't have no 30-minute Raes tape on the page.
That's
fair. So ain't nobody kicking Ray out. I like Ray. I'm a subscriber to Raes tape. And Ray's been in the sport, and so ain't nobody got no problem with Ray. Ray is good people,
I appreciate
Ray can't be doing 30-minute sessions on the Real Deal Track and Field.
You got to edit this, Ray. You have to edit this.
Hey, Manteo, hey, hold on. Time out. Stop. Manio don't switch scenes on us. Look at Manio. Manio done hopped in the car on us.
Hey, look.
We gonna edit this out.
We can't edit. It's live.
What are you driving, bro?
Huh?
What you driving?
Yeah, hell that.
I'm in a Beamer.
A Vapor.
A Beamer.
Beamer.
Shit, I need to go.
A Beamer.
Damn.
Yeah.
Track and field is good to you.
No, that ain't track and field. That's bobsledding money right there, Jack. I need to get on the bobsledding team. Boy, got bobsledding money.
You got 4 5 cars. Be quiet.
Wait, before we, wrap this up, can we all take, I think marijuana, THC, should be off the ban list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. And we
Is
can
everybody
make
in favor?
Yeah, we
I
can
raised my hand.
Okay.
Got my hand raised.
Hey, I think that should be off. It'll save a lot of problems, just like you said, out of basketball, football. Just take it off now. It's just like, come on. Let's just get off. It'll save a lot of problems.
That's right.
And just take it off. No different levels and in competition, out of competition. Just take that one off. It's legal now.
There is a lot of stuff they need to start taking off the list that they've been using to basically trap folk with. And I said it. That's what they're doing.
Can you test positive for alcohol?
No.
But you can test positive for caffeine.
Yeah.
With alcohol, like you drink some Hennessy, some cognac.
If you
I can tell you now, man, because y'all already know my whole career, y'all already know I was an alcoholic, doggone it. I'm going to go and say it on my show. So you know you can't test for it. Y'all know, well, I'm going to say it. After every track meet, that's what I went and did, Jack. At every track meet. When it was over with, I couldn't smoke no weed. So get what I went and did for hold my stresses for getting third and fourth. I went to the bar, all right? And guess what I'm going to say? I personally think that that's worse for an athlete, all right? Now that I'm a little grown-up, I understand a little more. I understand how the body operates. I understand dehydration. I understand liver processing. And now I'm sitting here like, y'all were taking us to the parties after the track meet with nothing but free alcohol. What the hell type of shit is that?
Ray, you just nailed it. Let me tell you something. There are a whole bunch of prescription drugs that people take that are way worse than any effect of marijuana.
Yep, these are facts.
But because it's a prescription, it's legal. Okay, there's a whole lot of over-the-counter things that people can take that are not good, that are way worse effective or have effects than, say, marijuana. But because they're legal per se, then it's okay. Now that they've been able to monetize and control the ebb and flow of marijuana, notice how it's becoming quote unquote legal.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the issue though. While what you said is very key, alcohol, and there's a bunch of alcoholics in track and field. And we know them all. Okay?
Oh, here's that one of them, Jack.
But the reality is, because it's not considered legal to USA Drug Anti-Doping Agency and the World Anti-Doping Agency, that's what had everybody basically pinned. And that's why I call them trap drugs, because they could have been taking it off. It has been scientifically proven, okay, that it has nothing to do with our sport or in the enhancement of our sport. There are some sports that they banned it because it helps them perform, like I think shooting. It calms their nerves or whatever to get them to, So shooting can't have it because it enhances their performance. But they have done the research and the science behind marijuana. It doesn't affect an athlete's performance.
Well, I don't know, JD. I got to interrupt you because I was watching one playoff game and what the boy name is from Cleveland, J.R. Smith. We should have won that game, and J.R. took the ball the opposite direction. So I can't say that it don't affect you now, cause we all know JR is an avid smoker, and we all saw it. JR, what you doing? Go this way. Oh, my bad, LeBron. Damn.
Hey, speculation.
Hey, y'all know what? We've been on this thing for a while. Before we get off of here, though, I have to, because my phone been going off with information. So real fast, still on Sha'Carri. Somebody just texting. That's close to her camp says, it's causing uproar. If y'all can keep talking and don't let it go, it's a possibility she has been reprimanded before. Also, they said that today's interview she did has people caused up an uproar, including the media, including the people at USA Today. Another one I got was about Nike. It said Nike, the brand that sponsors Richardson, responds to LFN's email request for comment. We appreciate Sha'Carri's honesty and accountability and will continue to support her through this time. This is what the company said in a statement. So right now, it looks like she got a whole lot of support from what's coming in. It's like she got a whole lot of support.
She's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
She said that's an absolute win.
That's okay. That's okay. And she brought awareness to just be dealing with things in life.
Go ahead, Manteo.
I just said that was a win for her because even though despite the situation looks bad, and if you look at it a certain way, at the end of the day, it's a win for her because she still has the support of her sponsors, her loyal fans, and she brought awareness to a situation that, again, like I said earlier, a lot of athletes may not even know about it. So she's protecting other athletes from being harmed in the same situation, in a sense. So it's a win for her. So if she watches this or if anybody can get this message back to her, she should be proud of what she's actually done on the outside of the situation. Because anyone could have taken and said, you know what, no, I didn't do this, or they're trying to blackmail me or blackball me or whatever. But she took the initiative to say, you know what, I made a mistake, I own up to my mistake, and here's how I'm going to make the appropriate step to fix it. So I salute her and her team for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, when she did the interview after the 100, okay, I mean, I had heard things, but I didn't know all the stuff, especially about her mom passing away. But when she did that interview, it moved me because I know what it's like when you make the team and you get to exhale. You know what I'm saying? You got to hold so much in, and that was that interview with Lewis Johnson when she just like, y'all don't understand. I have a strong team around me, and when she said that she had just heard about her mom, and it's like that was the exhale moment, and all that pressure that had been built up over time, she was able to finally just release it. And then I also know what it feels like when you get that phone call and they say, "Yo, you're done." You know what I'm saying? And now your life is like, it's like that feeling you get right before your mom about to whoop you behind, that heat rush all over your body, and you don't know how to think. So it's obvious that she has a strong support system. It's obvious that she has people around her that truly care about her, not her athleticism. And I think the fact that she has been a breath of fresh air with her antics, with her attitude, with her personality, she is a breath of fresh air. That's why Dennis Shavers can get behind her, because he knows her from being at practice every day. He saw her every day. He knows what she had to do to get there. That's why Nike can say today, hey, we stand behind her and we're going to get where. Well, one reason is because they're in Portland and everybody up here probably smoking weed. But I'm just saying.
They were probably in there scoped in, like what they want to email back. All right.
But that makes all the difference when your support system behind you. Yes, that's what you need.
Yep.
That makes all the difference.
Yep.
But it makes a difference.
And then and that's why
she can definitely know. She can know from this phone call or this Zoom call or whatever we're doing on Raes Tape. She can know from the real deal track and field. Yeah, there's a bunch of haters out there, but they only hate because they just like to be heard.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of people who really, truly support her. I got a friend of mine texted me today. He's a pastor. And he texted me. He was like, hey, man, is someone, in her life spiritual, whatever? And I said, I'm absolutely sure in her circle, she's got someone spiritual in her life. Yeah. And he was like, man, I'm just praying for her. People who watch from afar are reaching out and plugging into our sport right now.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because I need everybody in our sport to understand you are not alone. It may feel like it, but you're not alone. There are some of us out here who are truly fighting for you. Whether you see us or hear us or know us by name, we're out here fighting for you because we sat in your seat and we had less resources to do what we did to get where you got.
Support.
Okay? And
Yeah.
y'all need to know that there are people behind the scenes fighting. I could name names and I'm not, but there are people behind the scenes and I'm one of them. Y'all can say what you want to say about me, but I fight for athletes. I fight for athletes from the top to the bottom, and I don't care who you are. You can be the president or the CEO of USA Track and Field. I'll fight you if you're not supporting athletes.
Hold on. Somebody who's watching live just asked a real good question, and I'm gonna ask y'all before we have to wrap this thing up. I'm gonna say it the way. How did Jamaica know and released it before the U.S. did? That's a damn good question because Jamaica actually did put it out there first.
Because there's the whistleblower. There is a snake in our organization somewhere. How else would they know that?
Yeah, that's because I'm glad they just texted me and asked me to ask that question. Like,
well,
yeah, because
let me answer the question. I can answer the question simple. Somebody in your camp knows somebody that told somebody, and they told two friends, and so on. I mean, I'm sure USATF had the information and put it out because they have to put certain information out, but they were probably preparing themselves for either a press conference or something to give her team time to prepare. So I put it this way. Y'all know how this organization works. Everybody's connected to somebody who knows somebody that's close to her. So all it takes is one person to say something and the rest is history. So, I mean, I won't necessarily say it's a snake. Manteo, I won't say it's a snake. It's just we talk too much. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say it because it's my show and I created this show. Said I want to say it. Or somebody told me that it was one of your friends that said it, but I ain't gonna say nothing. But I'm just gonna say he said it one of your friends that said it, JD, or one of your old friends that trained with you that said it. That might be on TV, but that's just what somebody told me that texted me and said that's who said it. But I'm not gonna call no names out, but I'm just saying that's what somebody told me.
I mean, I put you like this. I can tell you personally, I didn't get it from him, but I'm heavily connected. So, you know, I knew when I heard it, it was early afternoon when I found out, and I just need to get confirmation. So, again, we're all connected to somebody that knows somebody that two friends and so on.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you like this. Soon I found out, y'all saw when I posted. As soon as I found out, I didn't say no names, but I was at the gym and my phone went off and it was like, yada, yada, yada. Well, I can say it now. Sha'Carri just got popped. And the first thing I said was, what? How? What do you mean? What do you mean, Sway? And after that, I was like, all right, let me sit back and wait it out. I was like, this is what I heard, y'all, but it could. I don't want to start anything, but I'm going to get y'all ready for it. But then the minute I found out what it was, I was like, oh, man, come on. Nah, y'all not going to do that. Y'all not going to do that. So.
And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, and I say we, not us, but I'm saying collectively, like in general. We're tampering with people's livelihood when it comes out like that. Like, let the facts come out. Let the facts fully come out before we rush to judge someone's character off of something like weed. It was people saying, "Oh, she tested positive for anabolic steroids," and I commented. I was like, because I was getting fed up with seeing it. I was like, "Show me the documentation where she tested positive for anabolic steroid. Please show me." And they couldn't. And I feel like obviously the media has a way with the words and stuff like that. I'm involved with media, so I understand how they do that stuff. And it's to get clicks, it's to get likes and all those things. But at the end of the day, we're messing with someone's livelihood. We already talked about her already being stressed out with family issues and ongoing situations. Imagine reading that yourself and not even know. Just imagine what she went through and what she probably still is going through. Like that's just crazy to me. Like it really set me off. That's why I hit you up. I was like, Ray, what's up?
Because it's personal, Manteo. I mean, people don't understand when you make an Olympic team, you immediately become the object of scrutiny. No one believes you got there, on just hard work. They believe it's got to be something else. And I can't say that it's unwarranted because we've had people who did cheat, But then you also have an organization like USADA, who then creates cheaters that are not cheating. You know what I mean? So it's a double negative, and we got to fix that part. We got to fix the part of the people who are blaming folk for doing stuff. This should not even be a discussion of drug cheating, the way that it was brought out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She tested positive for a banned substance.
Yeah.
It shouldn't even been brought out like that. It should have just been she tested positive for marijuana.
Out the gate.
people like to build it up and make it be something it's not, so that all this question can come in. Because half the people that are listening don't know that it's not a masking agent. Half the people that are listening don't know it's not a performance enhancer. All they know is drugs. All they hear is the word drugs, and they don't care that it was marijuana, because they're going to immediately go to, oh, she's a cheater. So now for the rest of her career, she's got to live it out that she's a cheater. And like I said, there are other champions. There are other champions who, through our sport, have had similar situations like Sha'Carri's, that have to live out their life with quote unquote banned substance on their name. Like you said yourself, Ray, it happened to you. You know, whether you got a slap on the wrist, whether you got a public warning or whatever you got, there's a whole bunch of people that, like yourself, got public warnings. But guess what? They're still on a list of people who have been quote unquote banned or had a ban for a banned substance.
Again, like I say,
and
that's the hard part.
Has to change.
That's the hard part, because literally that's exactly what happens. Because like I say, it's on my Wikipedia. So if you Google Monzavius Edwards, if you get, not even before you get to my accomplishments, it's sitting right there. Failed the drug test, 2004, yada yada yada. And then the thing about it is, when people ask me, because of course I've had to work, in certain places, they ask me about this, like, so what we got that you got? Because they put the word, I'm like, I was smoking weed. And they're like, oh, that's what that was? Yeah. But to the average person, when they Wikipedia me, again, they don't know that word is marijuana. So now it's like, oh, well, Ray, you were drugging too. Man, I was high. I wasn't. Why y'all got to keep labeling me that? Like, I didn't even run fast that year. I only ran like 10-10. It was weed. So, JD, you right. Like, that stigma follows you.
What'd you say?
That narrative needs to change for mistest as well.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
Listen, don't even get me started.
That needs to, like,
definitely.
because the first thing they say, oh, Breonna Rollins banned. So they automatically think, oh, she did drugs. It's like, no, it's this drug tag. You know what I mean? And they don't, to the outside world, they don't know. They don't know what they mean.
Why did she get a 5-year ban? Because I don't think we addressed that yet. Why did she get a 5-year ban? Not 2, not 3, 5.
That's what I don't even know.
I think because she had previous, infractions, and it added up. Just like jail time.
I want to say this.
If you have other infractions, you're going to get more jail time.
I want to say this to all those people who will sit here and say, oh, well, what about all the other tests she missed? It is so easy to miss a drug test. I think people need to understand that. It's easy. I'm going to give y'all an example. I was coaching an athlete. We were at the track. USADA showed up to give us a test. The athlete tested. We all left the track. Person lived about 30 minutes to 45 minutes away from the track. Okay? We get a phone call. WADA shows up to the track, says that this athlete has to test. Now, mind you, I'm still in the area of the track, so I go back up there and I'm like, yo, y'all just was here. No, we weren't here. That was USADA. I'm like, no, USADA. I said to them, USADA was just here. Like, y'all don't talk? He was like, well, that's a separate test. This is a different test. I'm like, on the same day, y'all are coming on just a random test, 2 drug agencies, separate agency, but you're governed by the other one. And the athlete has to come back. He's already given urine, and he needs to get back here in 30 minutes. He lives like 45 minutes away.
Yep.
It's going to take more time for him to get back to take the test. So I'm like, why don't we go to him? No, this is where he was supposed to be at this designated time. We're finished practice. Yep. We're supposed to sit here until his designated time is over?
Yeah.
You understand? So it's so easy to miss a test. Now, fortunately, the athlete made it back to the track, and of course, we got on the phone with the agency, and we got on the phone with the agent of the athlete, whatever, and we got it all rectified, whatever. But just like that, and we were able to do that, what about those times when you're 2 minutes leaving of the designated time that you were supposed to be there, and you're gone?
Yep.
And they call you, and you're it's like, it is very easy to miss tests. And everybody keep making it sound like, oh, well, you should have been here. What about that other time? Well, listen, one of the times she was at the White House during the president's visit. Yep. One of those times.
Look here, Jack.
It's like, it's I hate to that people don't know.
I hate to interrupt you with another story, but 2000 2010, when Xavier's Ray Edwards actually had the exact same thing happen again. True story. I actually got suspended for missing my test. At that time, my agent was John Newbannon. So when Newbannon sent me the information, he was like, Ray, they don't suspended you for missing your test. And I'm like, John, what test have I missed? So, make a long story short, we had to fight the arbitration, all that stuff. The reason why I won my case was because, he went and knocked on the wrong door. And then when he knocked on the wrong door, he didn't give me my phone call to say that he was there. The first 2 times that I missed was literally, this how they, I don't know if it happened to anybody else, this how they set me up. I got my 3 missed tests in 1 week, Jack. Like 1 week. It wasn't no spread out. It was like the minute they didn't find me on Monday. And then I'll tell you what happened. Because the dude who tested me, he had to test people in Houston as well. So he was in Dallas, and he didn't want to leave Dallas until I got tested. Because he's supposed to test Houston and Dallas. So he came on Monday, I wasn't there, okay? He came back on Tuesday, I wasn't there. He came back on Wednesday, I wasn't there. 3 days. Now, granted, I wasn't there because I didn't actually do my whereabouts correctly. Like, I don't do that stuff the right way. Like, I can't tell you where I'm going to be at in 2 months. So, it was technically, they said it was your fault, Ray, because you didn't update your whereabouts, whatever, when he came to the house. I get all that. But he came to the apartment that's across the street, first of all. And second of all, I'm supposed to get a phone call. Well, he said he tried to call, he tried to call you. Okay, well, did he leave a message? No. So luckily, because John is an actual attorney, we was able to beat that and nobody ever found out till now I'm telling y'all. But yeah, they will set you up like that. They got Mark Jelps the exact same way. Mark Jelps, he got 2 years back in like 2010. He got 2 years suspension. That's why Mark Jelps was no longer running, because he was in Oklahoma because he had just had a newborn baby. He was driving to Oklahoma to go see his child when they was there. And then when he stayed down there, they tried to test him twice in Kansas City. So he got 2 missed tests back to back because he went to go see his child being born. How are you supposed to know my baby coming right now? Let me update USADA. I'm finna drive. And it just so happened that's when they came to test
Who
him.
thinks of that?
Exactly.
Who
like,
thinks of that?
Who would possibly like, oh, let me tell USADA I'm finna go to Oklahoma because my baby on the way. And literally, that's how that man got suspended. But by going to go see his child.
They might as well is Chip Simmons.
Man, you know?
Might as well. Might as well.
GPS.
Listen, I just think that, you know, this is a very good opportunity for athletes to really pay attention, that the strength in numbers that they have right now to really get these bureaucrats in these suits that are dictating their lives. And again, don't get me wrong, you know, we do need drug testing. It definitely is a necessary, active part of the organization, and it has to be, because there are people out there doing some stuff. But at the end of the day, there needs to be more athlete involvement in that process. There needs to be, you know, Sha'Carri Richardson's situation has definitely opened up Pandora's box on a whole lot of issues that athletes need to really start paying attention to. You know, yes, every athlete, and let me say this, you are responsible for everything you ingest. You are responsible for everything that you do. And yes, the rules do apply to you, and we're not trying to create some rules and send a bad message to little kids and all of that other stuff. But what the other part is, that the side that you don't see is the inhumane things that an athlete has to go through just to get to the track and run, you know? And that stuff needs to be addressed. That stuff needs to be dealt with. And athletes need to basically speak up. And this is a great opportunity for them.
Yep. And a platform. Y'all got a platform. This is why we started to use Raes Tape. For that reason, we have a platform so that they can continue to hear us. Just like now, we have been on here for an hour and a half. And I truly appreciate y'all, because people actually needed to hear collectively, because again, JD, you one of the greatest Olympians, and I like what you said about there's no such thing as a former Olympian, because you're right. You one of the greatest Olympians to do it. You one of the flamboyant people to stand up and protest.
Yep.
So definitely appreciate you being on here to help clarify a lot of this stuff. Manteo is Superman running with broken legs and stuff. So
Broken legs.
broken legs, you know what I'm saying? And then we got y'all two who are
On my
legends.
relay.
So on JD relay, he said I ain't letting JD down. I'm bringing it all the way home with a broken leg.
No, never forget that.
Hey,
Hey, Peter, off leg.
And you did it too, bro.
yeah. But hey, I
I was
appreciate.
gonna make you. Hey, I ain't
What?
gonna lie. I was gonna put you in the final with a broken leg.
I heard you say, well, you did it once, do it again.
Listen, can I say this real quick, Ray?
Go ahead.
We literally in 2012 we ran out of legs. I mean, Jeremy went down, LaShawn went down, then Manteo went down. It was down to I was about to go call Christian Taylor and ask him to run the relay. That's how bad it was in 2012 for the 4x4.
Hey, I remember that. I remember watching that. Hey, but yeah, I truly appreciate y'all for coming on here and helping this thing and helping put it out there for everybody. Like, listen, we can make a change, but it's going to take us doing things like this. We have to continue to utilize our voices, utilize our platforms going forward. We can no longer just allow them to dictate how our sport that we love operates, because we're the ones out here doing the blood, sweat, and tears. We're the ones that's giving all the sacrifices. We're the ones that's sitting here like, I can't do this, I can't do that because I got a goal in mind. We're the ones that are out here giving up everything literally for an opportunity that they are able to take away from us just like that. We got to figure out a way to balance that out. And that's what we got to have more of these talks like this right here. We got to find a way to balance that out, because every time I hear that somebody been suspended, to me, it sounds like death, because I've said it before. For a track and field athlete, we don't have a resume. So you can't just say, well, you can't run for 2 years. What am I supposed to do? Nobody's going to hire me. Like, if you look at my resume, it says, I've been running. So, you know, like,
That's it.
that's it. Like, you putting us out, and I said, you putting us out on the street. Like, you're literally putting us out on the street at that point. So, come on, y'all. Let's figure something out. Hey, we appreciate y'all.
Shout out
Go
to
ahead.
the Barber twins. Shout out to the Barber
Oh,
twins.
you know, man, I ain't got to shout out the Barber twins, man.
The
Everybody
most
know the Barber
beautiful
twins, man.
track and field ladies in track and field. They are so
Yeah,
beautiful.
you know,
Y'all
that,
aging so nicely.
Man,
Y'all
look,
definitely aging
I
so
only-
nicely.
I
Y'all
only-
so good.
I only had them on the
I've been
show.
looking on Instagram. Y'all look better than all them chicks on
All
Instagram.
of them. All
Y'all
of
be-
them.
y'all
They let
sick.
one on. Look, I had to have them on the show multiple
Track
times.
women are the best women in the world. They beautiful.
But these two right here, they kind of like my Molly Karen. I was like, you know what? If we gonna do like first take, we got to have a Molly Karen. Damn it, I got 2 Molly Karens. How you love that, Jack? Not 1, but 2. Beat that. First take. Yeah.
All right, we're in. Race day, okay?
All right, y'all. Hey, we're gonna get out of this thing. I appreciate y'all. Hey, we appreciate all of y'all that's been tuned in for this whole hour and a half. And I'm sure y'all gonna see us again very soon. Oh, Tuesday, very special. Tuesday, we got Dwight coming on. So if y'all wanna hop back on, Dwight on Tuesday.
Okay.
So we gonna get this thing, because he said he got a lot to say, Jack. He say, Ray, I'm on. I need the show. I'm coming on.
Wait,
I got
Dwight Phillips?
Yeah, he said I got a lot to talk about, Ray. I need to be on the show.
Go.
I said, Tuesday, what time you want? He said, I'm on there Tuesday at 3:30. And he done tweeted it, so he for real coming. Yeah, he on the thing. DP said, I gotta talk. I said, well, if you gotta talk, we sure enough finna give you the flow, because you don't ever talk.
Let's go.
All right, y'all. We out of here.
Change your